So to create the many-to-many merge, I'm going to first add the class and class dupes data set that we created, and I'm going to interleave it by age name. So this is my this is how I'm going to interleave it, first by age, then by name. So now you can see that I've added some extra ones: Thomas, James, and Judy. Those are the ones that got added for, I don't know what the record number was, but something about that. And then you can see that some of these values have been modified. So height became +5, weight became -10, and the BMI changed according to that. Okay, so um, now to do my many-to-many merge, I'm going to use class many, which is dupes in there, and um, then I'm going to use hobbies as well, one-to-many. Okay. Actually, I didn't even need to use the class dupes, because class itself, if I go by age, there are many records which have the same age. And hobbies one-to-many also has, for the same age, it has many hobbies. So we can just do it like this. This is the many-to-many join. When you do the many-to-many join in SAS, it, like I said, it does something uh, slightly quirky. Um, so it takes the first record from the first data set, and then the first record from the second data set, and it just puts them together like that. Okay, you'll see this a little bit better if I open up the data sets. Okay, um, let me go here. Remember, I joined class and hobbies one-to-many. That's what I joined. So for age 10, it has biking and Legos, and age 11 has climbing and tennis. So that's a good candidate. Let's look at age 11 one. So let's go back here. Age 11, the first one got climbing and the second one got tennis. Okay, that's weird. Age 12, I had only one hobby, so everybody got baseball. Age 13, let me see if I go back here. What did I have for age 13? Age 12 and age 13 were one-to-one, right? I didn't have anything. But age 14 and 15 now have multiple ones. Age 14 has three of them: volleyball, swimming, and hockey. So if I go back to this guy, to age 13, age 14, volleyball, swimming, hockey. So what happens typically is till it finds a one-to-one, it keeps assigning the first record to the first record, second record to the second value, third value to the third value. And once it runs out of options on this side, it's just going to keep assigning it to the third value. So the next one also became hockey. So remember I said it's weird. It is weird. So in this case, it's hiking and lacrosse were the two options I had for age group 15. So now it applied hiking to the first record, lacrosse to the second one, and then it goes back to lacrosse the whole way, right? So again, I don't, unless you have um, equal number of hobbies and equal number of records for that age group or something like that, I really don't see this has never been a logic that I needed. Okay, so let me just stop it there. But it's all the same, it's there. Whereas if you do the same thing in SQL using the Cartesian join, which we'll talk about in an upcoming class, uh, it will it will it will match everything with everything else. Okay, so it's going to create a true cross product, and that true cross product will give you everything that you need, and that I've sometimes needed when I'm exploding my two data sets to have all possible combinations of something. I've needed to do Cartesian product, but not. Okay, so now we talked about what we talked about so far is what is called as full join, because you brought everything from everything. See, if you go look at the output data set here, although I didn't have record 10 data from my class data set, it brought that from my hobby. And although I didn't have information for hobby for my 16 age, it brought that record from class. Okay, so it's not only what's matching, uh, but it's everything. So this is what we saw is equivalent of what is called as full join. Okay, now we'll look at some of the other join types in SAS. Okay, so there are other join types. This is not SAS specific. This is specific, this is in SQL too. So if let's say I'm joining two data sets and I want everything from the data set on the left plus any matching information that I can get from the dataset on the right. So when I say dataset on the left and right, let's say I'm joining class many, this is my left dataset and this is my right. People think of it as Venn diagrams sometimes. So there's a Venn diagram of data that's coming from the left dataset, and then there's overlapping Venn diagram of the data that's coming from the right. So it's like saying, give me everything from the left and only the matching information from the dataset on the right. So that's what uh, this left join means. So again, in my class, uh, I'm just gonna go uh, with class dataset. Let's just go with class dataset. And there's a new construct here called um, in equal to option. We'll talk about that in a second. So again, this is class. I have all this information here, and then um, I'm using hobbies one-to-one for this merge, which basically has one record for each age. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. We are going to look at the left join. First, let me run it and then I'll walk you through how this works. So merge class and then hobbies one-to-one. I'm merging it by age, and then I have an if condition and an in condition. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. Okay. Uh, First thing you notice as a difference, at least the first thing I notice, is there's no record 10 that came uh, in this output data. Previously, there was information that came only from my hobby data set, but here I notice that that information is gone. I still have the age 16 with a missing hobby here. Okay, so that's what I want you to notice in this. So what's happened is it's brought everything from class, and where there's information available for hobby, it's updated from this one. That's what has happened in this. This is called as the left join. And we are using something called as an in operator. An in operator is kind of like a Boolean variable. Okay, uh, it so in equal to in class, I can put anything I want. I think it's got to be a valid 8-character SAS name, but I can put anything I want. I can put A, B, C, something, right? So what this means is, if this record was had contributions from my class data set, then this in class Boolean value will be set to 1 for that record. If that record had contribution from hobbies one-to-one data set, then this in hobby Boolean variable will be set to 1 for that record. Where there is no contribution from either in class or in hobby. So again, if I go back to this guy, I'm going to run it just to show you which ones have contribution from where. Okay, so one is class and one is hobbies one to many. So the first two records did not have any contribution from class, okay, because the age group 10 did not exist in the class data set. So in class Boolean variable for these two variables would be set to 0, whereas it had values contributing from hobbies data set. So in hobby Boolean variable for that would be set to 1. All of these records I have contribution from class and also contribution from hobby. So for that, the in hobby and in class Boolean variables, both of them would be set to 1. And finally over here, I only have contribution from class, but not from hobby dataset. So here the class Boolean variable in class would be set to 1, and the hobby Boolean variable in hobby would be set to 0. Okay, so I hope that clarifies what this whole thing is about. So this is in option is to just capture that who contributed to this record information in a variable. Okay, okay, so that's done. I've captured that. Now I'm saying if in class, meaning this again, this is to say if in class equal to 1, only then keep that information. This is a short way of saying that. If in class, meaning if if that value is 1, only then keep the data, otherwise discard it. I don't want to see it. Okay, so that's how we are enforcing a left join. So you can see how easy it will be to do a right join now, right? If I say if in hobby instead of if in class, instead of keeping only the information that came from the class, it will keep only the information that had contribution from hobbies. Okay, I'm not done it, but I'm gonna do it live. Let's go try it. Um, right join. Okay, so instead of if in class, I'm gonna say if in hobby, and then instead of merge left, I'm gonna say merge right. Okay, so now you can see here, age 10 through 15 had information in my hobby data set, right? Age 10 through 15. There was no information for 16, so that 16 is gone. 16 which we previously saw in the left because it came from only from class, and any additional information came from hobby for the records that were in class. That's why we saw 16 before but not 10. In this case, I'm saying keep everything from hobby and add any additional information that comes from the class dataset. So it kept the primary information. So the main character in this is the hobby, and the side character is the information that came from the class dataset. Okay. Okay, so you can now see again, if I extend this concept and only want to keep where there's contribution from both class and hobby, right? That's called as inner join, meaning only give me where there's the intersectional values in my Venn diagram for the join. That's called inner join. And I want to keep only the inner join values. I can say if in class and in hobby. So previously I said if in hobby, meaning if it came from hobby, then keep it. Now I'm saying it has to have come from, the record has to have contribution from both class and also hobby. Only then keep it. Okay, that's what this means. Okay, so here we go. So here I'm seeing age right away. I see there's no 10. Okay, because 10 only had contribution from class. I mean from hobby, not from class. So I don't see the age 10, and I don't see the age 16 because 16 only had contribution from class and not from hobby. So only the inner join values. And there's another way to do a full join. We've been seeing full join without the in condition so far. But if you were to do it using the in option, then you would say if it came from class or it came from hobby. It could have come from either one. That's basically the full join. And I can simply comment this out and still get a full join, which is what we saw before when we did the match merge, without the in clause or the if condition. But this is another way to do it. And so here we go. Now I said if it came from one or from the other, keep it. Okay, so this one came from hobby. All these records came from both class and hobby, and the last one came from class. So it kept all of that. Okay,